is about chairs. I was gonna do it on excavators because I was so excited about it all week, but I decided on chairs since we've never done anything like ID related. And I named this 8 chairs I can't afford. So they're all like basically like from the top 100 chairs in history. And there's like historical significance as well as manufacturing significance, and it's ubiquitous right now, still to this day, everywhere. So I think some of these chairs, you guys will be able to recognize it when you're out and about. I think like the Thai restaurant has it. I'm pretty sure Salesforce has a bunch in the lobby. I can't really tell whether or not it's fake, but maybe we'll get to that point later. So 8 chairs I can't afford, but I nerd out when I get a chance to touch it for real. Alright, we're gonna start with the THONET number 14. Produced in 1859 in the Czech Republic. So they use this like steaming technique to bend wood into organic curves, and this technique was called bent wood. Eames also used a similar method of bending on plywood for some of his iconic chairs, Charles and Ray Eames for Herman Miller. So the manufacturing significance of this is that it's only 6 pieces of steam bent wood, 10 screws, and 2 necks. So you can kind of see like the early like IKEA kind of like, you know, flat pack, minimal number of pieces inspired by this. And it kind of actually, the form factor is still kind of relevant in a lot of different types of chairs that were produced. Le Corbusier, actually, he's a famous architect, felt that it was like the only chair at the time he felt as modern as his architecture. So anything that he built, he furnished these houses with these chairs. And it's actually become the world's first mass-produced item of furniture. Questions? All right, and chair number 2. The WASSILY chair, model B3 by Breuer. Made in 1925 to 26 during the Bauhaus movement in Germany. I don't know if anyone's ever seen this chair before. Okay. So it's inspired by bicycle handlebars, and its manufacturing significance is that it's seamless. It has a tubular steel that's just been invented by a German steel manufacturer. And it's the first chair to introduce a bent steel frame. So you can see here that these chairs are significant because of the way that it was produced, and it was innovated for its time, especially in the 20s. And so because Germany and US at that time dominated the steel market share, they were able to kind of experiment with ways of using steel, bending it, and producing it in different ways. And right now it currently sells for $22.64 from Knoll. So they have exclusive rights to this. The problem with these types of chairs, and many chairs you see here, is that knockoffs are very prevalent, so you don't really know if you're actually really getting the real thing. Some of the qualities that you can kind of see is that it's really stripped off of like the initial forms of what a chair is. You're being kind of held up by this thin piece of leather. So it looks like you're actually floating on the chair. When you're sitting in this chair, you look like you're kind of like, I don't know, like almost like floating in your environment. So if you get to see one of these in real life, I encourage you to kind of like really examine it and touch it. It's even beautiful in its like profile and beautiful in like different angles. Okay, so next chair. So we mentioned Le Corbusier earlier, and this chair is called the LC2, made in 1928 in France. So he's considered one of the most influential architects of the 20th century. Still to this day, a lot of our architecture students will get to learn about him on the first year. So it actually started off as an economic failure the day after their first public showing in 1929 at a World's Fair. So a lot of chairs and furnitures were introduced at this like huge fair, kind of like IFCC for interior design and furniture. So it's kind of like showing off a product at CES for electronics. You saw this chair first, I think, in mass media in 2010 when Steve Jobs was sitting down on this chair introducing the iPad. So I don't know if you remember that. It's used in a lot of like office lobbies right now. So you can see like the bigger companies out there, like I said again, like Salesforce and whatnot, have these chairs in their lobbies. Again, I don't know if it's real or not because the fake ones look pretty amazing. So Le Corbusier was very, very into the idea that it's like an extension of your body, of your human form. So he kind of saw, like he actually integrated a lot of his philosophy when building houses into furniture as well. He's known for the quote, "A house is a machine to live in," and his furniture and his involvement in industrial design and design itself was that he had a very modernist approach. Again, a very innovative philosophical thought for that time. Okay. All right. And he also said needs of a democratic society dominated by the machine. So he was really trying to kind of look into a more, I guess, sterile is not the word, but kind of everything was really influenced by Le Corbusier at the time. So, and his philosophy, and his idea of democracy. Okay. Let me know if you have any questions. No? Okay. So, I don't know if you recognize this chair before. It always reminds me of like a therapist kind of chair. It's not that comfortable to sit in, but it is still iconic and beautiful. This guy was another architect, Mies van der Rohe. Again, part of the Bauhaus movement in Germany. This was, again, another example of the use of modern materials for that time in the 20s and its minimalist aesthetic. Right now it's going for $5,300. And so these are some of the early sketches and kind of like a view of the screws there. Originally filed away, but I think now they're kind of showing that. I think this is also another one of those like recognizable chairs. I've seen this chair in every Eames exhibition that I went to. This is the first chair they always kind of show. Anyone familiar with it? Yeah, the Eames, okay. So this was actually, the intention was to actually look like a well-used basement mitt, like a baseball. So you can kind of see that influence on the leather and also the color of the plywood. And the manufacturing significance of this is that it's actually a luxurious progression of their earlier bent plywood experiments. So as I said before, they experimented with a lot of methods of bending plywood. So a lot of people still kind of get nerdy about looking at these chairs, especially because of its significance in production methods during that time in the 40s. So there's 7 layers of bent plywood that's curved by heat and pressure. So if you get a chance to look at the videos online of how they manufacture this, it's actually quite fascinating. And it's always at a 15-degree angle to maximize comfort. So the intention was for it to be comfortable as well as modern and warm and receptive. Okay, and so this one again is actually the original one is housed in the New York City MoMA. It's everywhere. Fake, but who knows? I always think it's fake. I don't know. But when you go and touch the leather and kind of like really examine it, you can kind of get a sense of whether or not it's real. It's still really hard. You just have to have a person that's like an expert to go and look to see if it is real if you do buy one online, because there's a lot of Chinese fakes. The manufacturing method of these chairs right now, it barely altered in over 50 years. Questions? All right, so this, I think I mentioned this before, especially when we were in that Thai restaurant and got kind of nerdy about it, is because it's one of my favorite chairs. It's not comfortable, but it does have cultural significance. It's actually called the Navy side chair, number 1006, produced by Emeco in 1944, United States. So in the 40s, the Navy put out a request for chair design submissions. So it was a contract that designers had to bid over. It's the qualities of these chairs is that it's fireproof, waterproof, lightweight, and strong enough to survive a torpedo blast. And the designer, Wilton Dings, he designed this chair made out of recycled aluminum, bent, and it's welded to be super strong, especially to be placed in submarines. So we didn't want this chair to move as it was moving along inside of a submarine. So it takes 77 steps to produce, and to this day, Emeco is very, very adamant about anything related to do with this chair. Still the same manufacturing methods, maybe a little different, but shape, form, everything is still the same since the 40s. If you actually seen Westworld, that chair is in that room where what's her book? I don't know her name. She's sitting down on this chair in that room. Yeah. And also, surprisingly, there are certain McDonald's that actually bought a bunch of these chairs in bulk. I don't know why, because they're like 400.
Yeah, I was gonna ask how much they are.
Yeah, so I thought it was fake, but there's a lot of fakes of these. And because there's a lot of fakes, and especially coming from China, again, there's actually a whole department at Emiko dedicated to scouring the internet for fakes, and they have like a lawyer that kind of slaps on cease and desist of production orders, and they're still active. So how to spot a fake, I couldn't really find more info about that, but if you do kind of have a chance to go to Design Within Reach and feel the weight and the qualities of the real one, you can maybe be able to not spot a fake, because I believe that the fake ones are heavier. Or you could just throw it off of an 8-story hotel, 12 even. Okay, so the egg chair. Post-World War Danish design. I thought I'd throw in some Danish design in there. 1958 by Arne Jacobsen. So the egg chair is named after its resemblance to a smoothly broken eggshell, so you can kind of see that in its form. It only consists of only curving contours. Arne was commissioned by a very well-known hotel at the time to design chairs for the hotel lobby, and his approach was that because these hotels have such strong vertical and horizontal lines, he wanted to break that paradigm and introduce something that was only, like extremely beautiful and curvy and warm, especially within its environment. And as for manufacturing, he actually used a new kind of manufacturing process invented by a man named Henry Klein, a prominent fixture in the scene at that time. So it's like a molding process for fiberglass. So he used that to make this look extremely sculptural. 6 to 7 of these are produced per week. And right now they're going for $7,000 and up. But when he was designing this chair, he experimented with clay in his garage. He just got obsessed, kept testing it, perfecting the shape, before moving into sculpting the form. So I'm wondering how many clay chairs there are, but a bunch from what I noticed. This is considered mid-century modernism, and some of the qualifying details about this chairs is that it's organic, it's approachable, and extremely elegant. Fun fact, SFO, Virgin Airlines, in their lobby, bought a bunch of these chairs. When they shut down, the airport kind of moved these chairs everywhere, bought it, for a very, very low price, and moved it around towards the bathroom. So it's kind of in an area where it just kind of says, yeah, we don't give a fuck, we need a place to put these chairs. So if you go to SFO now, you'll see a bunch of these chairs in pretty bad condition scattered around the airport. And another fun fact about the airport is, those chairs that you guys sit when you're waiting to board on a plane, those chairs designed by Eames. So Charles and Henry Eames. So that is the egg chair. Has anyone seen one of these? Yeah, very iconic. And then I think this is the last one. So this is like it's a really interesting chair. Anyone seen this as well? It's pretty iconic. Okay, well, it's called a PANTON chair. Another example of Danish design, 1960s. So this was pretty innovative for its time because of the use of single form, single material injection molded techniques. So you can actually stack these chairs. And the idea was that because they were advancing in manufacturing and large scale production of chairs, this was very appropriate and a reflection of production in Denmark at the time. So at first there was a small pirate series of these, only 150 pieces manufactured in 1967, and it was the first all plastic chair to be made in one piece. And so because the 60s were more concentrated around the use of plastic and injection like mold techniques, it influenced a lot of other chairs during that era, especially the lawn chair, the stackable lawn chair, the really kind of ugly ones, but it was really cool because you can stack 50, 80 of them at a time. So the idea was to be stacked. Still really beautiful in its form. It's kind of devoid of really anything else. You have something to sit on, and then you have the base that curves out. Extremely simple, and it almost looks like a drawing in its profile view. So because of the physical limitations of plastics technology and manufacturing requirements of these chairs, they were actually discontinued in 1967. But PANTON came back again during the 90s because he was introduced to a new injection molding technique that allowed the use of, I can never say this properly, but polypropylene as an affordable industrial product so that it could be mass produced. And so these are still in production. I don't know how much these are, but they're extremely expensive, like the other chairs. So again, a bunch of fakes scattered everywhere. And then a bonus old picture of a bunch of them lined up with a kid in there. Yeah, so it's actually a beautiful chair when placed in any setting. Like you can see like the reflection of the pool on the base of its chair. It's really extremely glossy. It comes in a variety of colors, but the red and the white one is the most iconic. So they'll show that, in discussion chairs. very light too. And that's it for 8 chairs I can afford. I wanted to add a couple more in there, but then it would have turned into 20. So I just stopped it at there because it was like, okay, well, we're kind of showing the bulk of iconic chairs. So hopefully when you do visit anything, you can kind of see some influence of themes like these chairs here too, depending on how it would. Yeah, so get chair nerdy.
Cool.